Mic check. Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Alrighty, hopefully we are live. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Couple purposes for this new stream. Of course, we are going to be building a new PC, or kind of rebuilding a PC, mainly just swapping in these parts in exchange for some other parts which are a little bit out of date. But also I've got a new mic. So this is the DJI mic that a lot of people are typically using, Narrow 3D, and I think Steve might be using it now, I'm not sure. But yeah, so hopefully the audio is a little bit better than it has been in the past, so testing some things out. But also, yeah, the main crux of this is to get this new PC built, because when I did the video, the review of the Voron V0, which is, you guys can't quite see it back there, but it's back there, it's been running great. But it took me forever. It literally took me about 2 weeks longer than I wanted to do that. What do you call it? Editing. Yeah. So this is my editing PC. It's got a 5960X in it. That's an Intel 5th gen CPU. So it was an i7, but it's really, really old. It's got like an Asus X99 Sabertooth motherboard in there. 64 gigabytes of RAM, and we're going to be swapping in what you can kind of see in front of me. Sounds great. Okay, thank you, Tiger Flyer. I've got a new setup here. I've got a display so I can click some stuff, but it's not the easiest. But thanks for letting me know that the audio is great. Can you hear the music, or can I turn that up a little bit? It doesn't seem to be popping up on the OBS very much. I'm gonna turn it up a bit. Let me know if it is too loud or if it can get turned up a little bit more. Couldn't hear music. Let's see if it gets any better. So the components we have, I can actually maybe show you with the browser. So this is the bundle I picked up. It is the Intel Core i9-12900K. The Asus Z790V Prime Wi-Fi DDR5, so it is using DDR5 RAM, my first system that'll be using that. Just got a basic G.Skill Ripjaws S5 32 gigabyte kit. Timings on it don't seem all that impressive. This isn't the best kind of like crazy editing rig you can build. This bundle was actually a little bit cheaper when I picked it up around you know, Black Friday time. There was a, not Intel, but AMD bundle that was similar priced, but the individual core performance wasn't nearly as good from what I could see in terms of like Premiere and After Effects and all that kind of stuff. So I decided to go with this guy. So music is really quiet, computer speakers, not headphones. Okay, turn it up a little bit more. But yeah, so I wasn't looking to go for like a crazy system here. The goal is just to have an editing PC I can consistently boot up, move footage onto, and you know, do some editing. So that's better. That is really good to hear. So I've got a display right here so that I can see stuff, but right now I'm having to like peer over top in order to do some stuff. So I might have to make some changes to the way the current setups is working. But thank you, Tiger Flyer, for letting me know about the audio. That was one thing I really wanted to improve, especially in my earlier streams for building the Voron V0. The audio was not particularly great. I went from like an overhead mic, and I tried a lapel mic, and then I swapped out my overhead mic, and now I'm using the DJI, which a lot of other people are using. Hey Feder, what's up? So I've got this is my first stream, I think, with the DJI mic, kind of following everybody else's footsteps. But yeah, hopefully the music balance is pretty good. And we are going to be building this PC. So I already went over the specs, but we've got a i9. It's my first i9 I'm ever buying. From what I've heard, a lot of people were waiting for like the 1300K or whatever it was to come out, and then it came out and people were kind of like disappointed, saying it wasn't all that much better. So I saw this bundle for, I think it was like $329 or something like that, so I decided to just go ahead and pick it up. Not the best editing PC you can build on the market, but hopefully it'll be pretty good. So we are going to be stripping out this motherboard and the RAM that's in here, trying to slot the new motherboard and CPU in there using the same cooler. I've got some really old CPU. What is this? Arctic Silver 5 in here, and then I've got some other stuff from Cooler Master that came with a couple different CPU coolers I've bought. So yeah, we're gonna use that. Hopefully it works pretty well. And I guess we can dig into it. Let me move a little bit of this stuff out of the way. I do have my Linus LTT screwdriver. I've actually got the stubby that I've been using. It's a little stuck in its holder, but we've got both double screwdrivers to drive all the screws. It's the sickest setups. Almost back to normal. I still need to get my slider going. So in some of my older streams, you can see the slider going back and forth. Nice little subtle movement. The controller on that went out, so I'm actually DIYing a little bit of another solution for that guy. And hopefully we'll be finished. I need to get like a circuit board printed up and do a couple other things. So let's get this guy down. And then we will switch to the overhead cam when it is appropriate, maybe now. I also changed my like general streaming setup quite a bit, so bear with me while I kind of figure some of this stuff out. So we need to go to this guy, I think. Yeah, and move back. There we go. So this is I think an NZXT X52. Not a bad little CPU cooler. It cooled the 5960X pretty well, and it was a pretty significant CPU. I think it had like 8 cores, 12 threads or something like that. But we need to take some of this stuff out, starting with, this is a 1060. Pretty old reference GTX card. Nothing special about it really. Just hopefully enough to kind of give me a little bit of extra performance in terms of rendering. Then we have a Elgato 4K Pro in here. When I was streaming kind of gaming and other stuff in my kind of office space, I would use this to stream as well. So it's kind of a dual purpose streaming rig as well as editing rig. So let's just move those out of the way because they're not going to go back in for a little while. Better, I saw you stream the 2 trees. Is that what it was called? Something 2 trees. A little while ago. I think you were unboxing it. I've heard of that brand, but I don't have very much experience with them. Let's attach these guys. The SATA 2 Trees SK1. Very impressed. Okay, that's good to know. I like that there's kind of new companies, maybe not coming out on the market, but some other options. I think everybody's moving to these Core XY type machines. The more options people have, the more competition there is. Hopefully they drive everybody to do better and we get more and more better printers. But I think you were kind of comparing it to like a an out-of-the-box Trident because it's got the 3 lead screws and individual motors. Tiger say. My uncle wants to build a new rig to run his flight simulator on 42-inch TV. What is a good graphics card for that? His budget is $2 to $5K. Graphics cards, there was just the announcement from NVIDIA at CES for the 4070 Super. I think there's a 4080 Super. The 4080 Super is supposed to be close to, you know, 4090 performance, and the 4070 Super is supposed to be a little bit better than 4080. So 4070 Super looked like it was about $599 for a reference card. That seems like a pretty good price if you can actually get it for that. We're kind of in that time where NVIDIA will announce a reference card and you can maybe get a few, you know, of those initially, and then every company comes out with their own kind of non-reference version of it, and they all cost $300 more than the reference version, which is kind of annoying. If I was gonna get a card right now, I think the 4070 Super would be kind of how I would go. Let's see, solid custom extrusions. Built with Triple Z motors, Clipper, and MKS hardware. Okay, so it does kind of sound pretty Voronish. Hey, Jeff. Thanks for hopping in. Yeah, Feder just built, what, 2 systems for sim racing, which would be a similar application. You went with a 4070 for the graphics card? Yeah, I don't think you need to spend like $5,000 on a good gaming machine anymore. The hard part is just like some of the component shortages that we had for a little while, and the market was just like really weird for a while, but hopefully it's stabilizing. Do you guys remember when like the 970 came out and it was like a $350 graphics card, and it was like the most popular graphics card on Steam hardware profiles, and you got pretty good performance in most games on it? I feel like the 970 and 1070 were a little bit of a sweet spot, and then after that, things just kind of went like kind of crazy. Now a 70 series card is like $700, $800 card. Jeff just built a 14900K and RTX 4090 water cooled everything. That is awesome. So I build a lot of systems with the AI all-in-one coolers. I've not built a fully custom loop yet. I've always said I wanted to. I think I just need to set aside the budget and not let any other new hobbies kind of get in the way, if you know what I mean. Like right when I was looking to probably build a water-cooled, you know, custom loop, I kind of got into 3D printing. So, too many hobbies. All right, let's get this fan out of the way so we can hopefully get the motherboard out. Still a little bit of dust in here. Took it out to the garage and tried to de-dust everything. Yeah, that is a pretty beast CPU. I'd definitely take it if I could get one. So the fans I have in here are all the NDXT, like really nice LED fans, the Hue 2 or whatever. I mean, that's probably not the newest ones. So you can link them all up and do custom RGB stuff, which I don't, to be honest, but they're nice, but they're kind of a pain. Linking them all together, then having a control unit in the bottom and doing a bunch of extra stuff is, it just makes the build, like, it's the most complicated part of the build for me lately. I do have a few other views. Let's see, we've got a shoulder cam. Is that one working? Maybe, maybe not. No, the shoulder cam's not working. What's wrong with you, shoulder cam? And then I've got a face cam. Is that one working? Oh, there's the face cam. And then there's the shoulder cam. It's a little bit lower quality, but hopefully it can offer a couple useful angles at certain times. I'm just gonna kind of switch between the overhead and the shoulder every once in a while. This build was a little bit of a challenge. I don't know if you guys can see, but the RAM, this RGB Corsair RAM was like right up against the fans in here. And it's a fairly large case, but yeah, it was up against it, literally. Let's see, Jeff had EK block, active backplate. Feder wants to do a water-cooled printer. I've seen a couple of those. I think, was there a water-cooled printer? There was one with CPAP at ERF. I'm not sure if there was any with water cooling. I mean, I assume it's in the realm of diminishing returns, but that's kind of not why you do it. I would imagine you do it kind of just because it's cool as hell. You have the hardware waiting? Okay. I will tune into that stream. Oh, where'd my cursor go? How does the DJI mic sound? If you guys recall any of the V0 builds or streams I did, like, hopefully it sounds much better in comparison. I go back and watch those streams and I get a lot of people tuning into the streams saying that they're, you know, finding them helpful, and then I listen to the audio and I'm like, ah, gosh, it sounds so terrible. Sorry. Let's see, there's another connector on this. I might have gotten the order of operations a little wrong on this. We'll see. I might need to take the cooler out. After all, I was hoping I could just kind of slip stuff in. But we can take a look at I can't remember if this was the default installed CPU paste, but doesn't look too bad. Pretty even spread out, no kind of over drip on to the sides. So we will have to reapply that in a while. My chat isn't auto scrolling for some reason. That's a little weird and annoying. Vez did water-cooled steppers. Sounds significantly better. Good to know. Good to know. Like to find out that people are using those build streams to like build their V0 is really, really cool and nice, but to go back and listen to how bad the audio is, it's kind of like frustrating because presumably better audio would make it a little bit easier. Almost forgot these cables down here. That light went away. I don't know if that helps you guys see into it at all or if it's completely overblown. Yeah, I mean, when you get to the point of, you know, we've got stuff like the VZ bot, which are just some really crazy performant printers. I think you might as well, you know, pimp some stuff out with them. Can't get this front I/O panel out. My head's probably blocking everything. That was another thing I noticed. How many times my head just completely blocked something. Streamer problems. I don't want to pull on the cables on this, just like a little stuck. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. All right, all the front panel I/O and USB stuff is out. We can, I think I'm gonna need to take out this cooler because I'm not gonna be able to get to the ATX screws on the motherboard with it in the way, but let's just cross that bridge when we come to it, maybe. Try to keep track of all these screws. How much do you guys keep track of the PC hardware world? I've fallen off a little bit when during COVID, when all the pricing went crazy. Why won't you get in there? Get in your home. I kind of got tired of having to hunt for PC parts and keep up with what was the best for what application. Oh, it's the armor is in the way. I need a longer bit. Do I have a longer Phillips screwdriver bit over here? Might have to run out to the garage, but I've got a screen for that now. Be right back. Look at yourselves. All right, I am back. I asked about the CPU stuff. Feder said on off. I try to stay away for my wallet's sake, but I can't stay away because hardware is fun. Yeah, exact same problem with like 3D printing and everything. I've been watching Zombie building his tool changer. He's building a 2.4, I think 5 or 6 tool changer, and yeah, now I want to build a tool changing printer that I probably don't have a purpose for, but it looks cool as heck. I think he's streaming right now. And I think I can throw, yeah, there we go. We can throw another camera on there. So my goal is to have it so that I could switch to like basically any camera on the side and on the main screen. So on the main screen, we're on that one. I can put it on that same one. We can put it on that one, the shoulder cam. We can put it on the desktop, and we can put it on the overhead. And then on the side cameras, we can do the same thing. So I can cycle through all of those. And then same thing down here, cycle through all the different things. So hopefully that offers like plenty of flexibility. Hello, Steve. Nice to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Rebuilding the stream PC. I edited the review of the FormBot, and it took me like 2 weeks longer than I wanted to edit it. So I've updated the stream a little bit. Got the DJI mic that everybody is using. I used that on the V0 review video. And it seemed to work fairly well, so we're using it for the stream. I do want to kind of maybe pick up a lav. I don't know, what do you guys think about folks having just the mic sitting on their lapel like this as opposed to having a real lav mic? I'm not sure how I feel about it. This is on top chat. That's what the problem is. I kind of hate that feature of YouTube. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing all the chats. And I have to switch it to live chat manually. There we go. Sorry if anybody was chatting and it wasn't showing up. That's a silly thing, YouTube. Jeff, I have orange V4 350. I'm thinking of doing a tool changer that Zombie Hedgehog is doing. Are you thinking about doing the, which tool head, which actual physical tool head? He's doing the Dragon Burners, but I saw a guy do a serial request today, and he had stealth burners with Nomi, and he had 2 tools. He didn't have like more than that yet, but I thought that looked pretty cool. I would want to probably do stealth burner personally. I know you're probably like losing out a little bit on speed and weight, but hey Caleb, thanks for hopping in the stream. Nice to see you. I don't like the weight of that thing on my collar, so I use a clip mic. Yeah, I was thinking about getting a clip mic, like a little lavalier or something. But it's a really nice and flexible system. I'm not really doing much work right now. This screw is not magnetic, or this bit is not magnetic, and I can't get it out, so I have to wait on that guy. I guess that's some feedback for Linus. The bits are really nice, but since they're so short, if you have a Mobo with armor like this, which I don't know how common that is anymore, the bits aren't long enough to get down there. So solve that. Get the longest bit I've got and put it on stubby and use it. You like the stealth burner? I kind of like it too. I get the purpose of the Dragon Burner, but stealth burner just looks way cooler, in my opinion. The Dragon Burner is really nice for kind of versatility. You can basically throw any standalone extruder on top of that thing. It's lighter. It uses more kind of commonly available fans. So I get the merits of it, but I just like the looks of Stealth Burner quite a bit more. Just need to build all the printers like Steve, and then you can use every tool head you can imagine. I do love the ratcheting action on the Linus Tech Tip screwdrivers. And my chat is delayed, so I can see on my stream preview that Steve chatted, but then it's not in my thing. Why aren't you auto-scrolling chat? Technical difficulties, new streaming setup, and of course everything is making things harder on myself. Galileo 2 on Stealth Burner is really awesome. So I still have this ender wire I need to, why are you still coming undone and not coming out, screw? I still have that ender wire I need to build, and I want to use Stealth Burner on it. So maybe Galileo 2 will be the best option for that guy. I really wish this was magnetic so I can get the screws out. There we go, just switch screwdrivers. One for the magnet, one for other stuff. Still not long enough, there we go. So Steve has the Prusa build stream or series going on, and you've got the LDO switch wire kit going on. This screw is still not loosening up enough for me to actually get it out. Of that guy, and I think I am gonna have to take this guy out because I can't get to the two topmost screws without it. I was hoping to avoid it, but I don't think I can. So I think that's gonna be from the top, but how can I do this so I don't ruin stuff? I have to tilt this guy up. And hopefully not get thermal paste everywhere. Kind of makes me jealous of all the people building those tiny form factor PCs recently. Maybe the shoulder cam would be better for this. Main cam, shoulder. And then side cam 2. This is a little I'll just turn it off. Does Steve Builds have a YouTube channel? He sure does. Go subscribe right now. I'm not blaming you for not knowing that, but he's got an awesome YouTube channel. Anybody, especially if you're interested in building 3D printers, custom 3D printers, it's definitely worth the look. And he live streams way more consistently than I do, so. Oh, you know what this? I forgot that this has a shelf for the rad mounts. How many screws is it for this? But that might make things a whole lot easier. This is a Fantex. Oh, look at that. You can see all those cables up top though. Ugh. Absolute mess of cables. Love RGB, but this is like the cost of doing business with RGB fans and stuff right now. Yes, anybody who watches this in the future, go ahead and subscribe. Check out 3D Print SOS's channel as well. He's done some Voron builds, has some cool projects going on. You're printing you're printing a plane, right? A remote control plane. Better. If you're into RC stuff, that's a pretty cool build. Kind of feels a little bit silly. I've got one bit. Can I stick a neodymium magnet to this guy and make it magnetic? I'm not sure if I have any down here. But it feels kind of silly switching back and forth between bits just so I can have one that's magnetic and one that actually can get the screws out. How many more cables do I need to undo to completely remove this thing? I get the feeling the very worst part of this is it's going to getting the fans done back up at the very end. What are you caught on? Cable management. There we go. All right, so far we've managed to not get thermal paste all over me. My V0 is now holding the radiator. And we can get this motherboard out. Come out, come out. So at one point in time on my channel, I was doing a PC build almost every month. Most of them were not mine. I had a lot of friends looking to get into PC gaming, and I would build their systems for them, and it gave me content and gave them hopefully a working computer. I built my boss's PC on stream. That was fun. A super chat from Matthew. How come that doesn't come up? There we go. Yo, happy new year. Can't watch for long. Got to go back to work. Have a good night and appreciate the V0 documentation. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for watching. I get a fair amount of messages from people saying that the Formbot V0 documentation has been helpful, and that's really, really good to know because that video took me like, I'm gonna say like 60 hours to edit on this machine. This machine is very, very old, and it took a very long time. So I put a lot of effort into it, and people seem to be getting a lot of usefulness out of it. So that's really, really great to hear. Thank you for popping in when you could, and thank you for the super chat. I've got one screw keeping this in, and it just keeps turning and not coming undone, and I don't know why. It's the center screw on this ATX motherboard. This guy right here, for some reason, it can just keep spinning and spinning and spinning. Did I use the wrong screw on here? That might be what it is. Or am I missing a screw that I didn't realize? No screw, no screw, no screw. I am missing the 8-pin CPU connector up here. That's what's keeping it in. This is also the worst freaking Molex connector to get off. There we go. Let's see. Why can I not see the newest chats? You've been following the build series like a Bible. Well, definitely try to hopefully, learn from my mistakes. There's a couple things I don't do the best way in the build and a few things I've changed since the build. So definitely check out that GitHub. But yeah, really glad that it's been helpful. What is preventing this motherboard from coming out? What am I forgetting, guys? There's this. Is this screw just that long? Yeah. I swear I've been turning on that screw for about 10 minutes. But now we can tilt this guy out. I really do like the Sabertooth motherboards. I guess now they're the Tough series. But I feel like they were the first ones to do some of this kind of armor stuff. And they got really, really popular. I think it's probably died down a little bit now, but yeah, it's got like this diamond carbon fiber plate thing. This thing is like 7 generations old now, 8, 9. We're on 1400s, right? That's crazy. Where can I put you where you won't fall or break anything? All right, so I guess we can go ahead and take this guy off for now and get the new motherboard set up with the RAM. Got my mod mat, the old school PC builders, remember that? You helped me so much, not just wiring guide, but you have also the firmware. Yeah, hopefully that firmware was a really good starting point. That's kind of one of the tripping points, I think, for a lot of people getting started with their first build and their first clipper printer. So yeah, I was thinking, okay, what can I put in there that would get people as close as possible to getting started, but allow them to still be able to kind of tune anything they need themselves. Got M.2 screws. Not a whole lot in this. So this is the Prime series of motherboards, and they don't have a lot of like frou-frous and extras, which I kind of like, but we'll see if I ended up needing any kind of extra performance down the road. Got our motherboard. Matthew, thanks again for the super chat. Appreciate it. So I do like the silver. I think it kind of goes with a little bit with the aesthetic of the case and the build. I guess you couldn't see, the panels are somewhere out where I was cleaning everything up, but the case in general is kind of maybe a little bit less of a chromey silver than this, but the whole kind of theme of the build is silver and black. I thought this went with that fairly well. Man, look at the size of the CPU and socket in comparison. The old versus the new. That 5960X was a big chonkin CPU. Need to get it cleaned up later. This is on Top Chat too, man. I don't like the top chat feature. I don't see the purpose of it. Live chat, all messages, please. So again, sorry if I've missed any chats. It, for some reason, is defaulting to something I don't want. CPU, storage, and RAM. So we've got two M.2 drives. That's one thing I'm really loving about modern systems, is that you don't have to have a whole bunch of drives scattered all around your case. You can, this has got 1, 2, 3 slots for M.2, which is pretty great. Should use the standard mounting, so I should just be able to put the CPU cooler straight back on, which is good. But let's get into the CPU box. Core i9, we got our little sticker I can throw in the case if I want. But yeah, the CPU is tiny in comparison to that 5960X. Small. Get the RAM out. So I do have 2 more RAM sticks coming. These are both 16 gigabytes, so that'll be 32 for now, and then I'll have 64 total. I tried to get something that was like in the same lot to maximize RAM compatibility. I don't know if you need to do that anymore. Do you guys remember when you used to have to like get sticks of RAM that were really, really close together? It wasn't just like the timings and speed. You had to kind of do a bunch of extra stuff. I don't know if that's a thing, if people need to do that anymore at all. What do we want to do first? CPU? A lot of tension. Where are our alignment triangles? Bottom left. Man, looks like text up. Turn it slightly. It's hopefully keyed so you can't put it in wrong, right? Yep. Man, you guys ever get nervous when you're doing that? I don't know, I feel like I've built upwards of 20 PCs these days, but I still get a little bit nervous clamping it down. Which RAM slots do we need to use? Also need to figure out which are the fastest M.2 slots. Hey Renovic. Thanks for hopping in the stream. First stream is so long, yeah. So this has been a little bit in the making. I didn't want to start streaming the V0, the LDL build, until I had this new streaming PC kind of set up so that I can record the footage and get it ingested and kind of edit as I go, instead of waiting until the end and trying to film or edit the review when I have like 30 hours worth of stuff. So hopefully this puts me in a better spot. Better set every time, yep. We need the outermost slots. Like the main part of building a PC is so fast. The hard part is getting like the wiring and cable management done for me, to be honest. So we've got two M.2 for now. Both are 2 terabyte. One is max 7500 and one is max 5100. So this is the slower one. So this one I want to use as storage for editing, and this one I want to use as a system drive. So which M.2 do we want to use where? Have you been Renovik? You were working on an Ender 3 build for a while, or speccing one out. How's that going? RTFM, right? Read the manual. So A, B, and C from top to bottom. Which are the fastest? They all say PCIe 4x4. The bottom most is 4x4 and SATA mode, from what I can tell from the manual. So I'm not sure how much it matters. I rebuilt both my Enders. One is currently working fine, not as good quality as before, and the other is having some either hot end or extruder issues. But at least you have two, one of which is working, right? So you can print parts for the other one. Is that not the way it always goes with printers? So I said I wanted this one to be system. So I guess I'll put it in the first one. It's really frustrating when you have two printers and kind of both of them are down. For these drives, I just kind of caught them on sale as they came on sale as well. I didn't really try to min-max performance or anything. So that one goes there. You've got the standoffs for it. The one that is having extruder hot end issues is the one that I did a ton of mods on, like M4 extruder. I have that on my TiVo Tornado. Clone bamboo hot end, that's cool. I'm pretty sure it's just issues with the Bowden tube. But you honestly don't know? You'll get it sorted out. Which one did I say? I forget the lengths on these. 2280 or something like that, and 5280. 22110. And what did I do with the screw? The black screw on the black mod mat. Smart. Go smart, Brian. Oh, it's not a black screw, it's a silver screw, but it's still tiny, very small. I do like my M4 extruder. The TiVo Tornado had a Titan clone on it by default. And I kind of assumed just because it was a Bowden setup that was what was causing a lot of the extrusion performance issues, but switching to the M4, I think it's performing a whole lot better. And the other M.2. Just trying to gently open this box and I'm end up destroying it. this guy's gonna go in this one. He is 22.8 as well. It's a little overlit maybe up top. Turn it that way a little bit. I don't know. Trying to light all these different cameras is a little bit of a pain in the butt. I want to have all the angles. Feder, if you're still there, does the two trees you mentioned, it's got 3 individual motors like a Trident, so it has to do some type of Z tilt. Does it have any type of automatic Z offset as well? I think that's kind of the magic that's gonna allow 3D printing to kind of be used by the masses a little bit more, is the automatic Z offset. That's kind of like the last element of no touch, very simple for people to use 3D printers. So I'm not bowing the heck out of my my M.2 drives like you see some people do online. I don't have a third M.2. I could take the 250 gigabyte that I have on the Sabertooth motherboard off and put it on here and maybe use it as a scratch disk. That would be super fast, but I'm not really like hard pressed to do that at the moment. Get all this trash out of the way. Back into the motherboard box. No auto Z offset on the 2 trees, but I haven't touched it since setting it up. Unlike many other machines that have a custom screen on Clipper, this one doesn't mess up Z offset. That's good. I know, like, was it the Ballistic Tech and another one that have Z offset on the screen plus Z offset in Clipper, and they kind of end up interfering. It's got Clipper done how it's intended. That's good to see. And this Clipper on custom, or like Clipper on what do you call it? Consumer machines is still kind of in a wishy-washy spot for me. Meanwhile, many others added to the live adjustment via the screen. And is that where the dual nature of it gets messed up? I think that's it. Like, the hardest part of a PC build is not the actual like building of the components or putting them together. It's so straightforward now. Right, this one is done better. I still wish it was just raw Clipper screen, but the build quality and the chassis itself is nice. Cool. So I've got 2 more RAM sticks coming in. Hopefully they won't require me to completely disassemble the cooler in order to get them in. But I think we can get the case back up here, get the motherboard and IO shield in, and then start reassembling. This is going a little bit faster than I expected, I gotta admit. Put this on the anti-static bag and bring this heavy case up. And I'm just gonna pull all these cables out. Yeah, the hardest part for this is gonna be remembering what all the cables do and kind of are. In terms of the fans, they're like in a sequence. Maybe I won't even like put those back together or on the way they were. I wasn't getting that much benefit out of them, to be honest. You can't really see all the RGB when it's in the case, the way I have it at least. IO shield. Kind of a low quality IO shield, I gotta admit. A lot of the newer higher end motherboards are coming with kind of the padded ones that are a little bit harder to straight up cut yourself on. But which way does this one go? HDMI up top. Get in your home. Anybody ever slice their hands putting one of these in? Hopefully not just me. Whatever Newegg say. Latest upgrade mod I've been working on, but just like the other ones probably won't actually happen, is a Core XY conversion for your Ender. I have extra extrusions and linear rods, motors, and mainboard. Nice. Is that like a project that somebody else has done that you'll be following along, or is it like a straight up like, well, not scratch build, but you're doing it yourself? Or you're like following a CAD? For a decent printer with linear rails for gantry, it's like $70 for parts. That's not bad. But with linear rods for XY, it's like 40 to 50. It's interesting seeing how like Core XY is getting democratized. Obviously, we've got the printers, like ready-built printers, like the Bamboo Labs, now all the quote-unquote Bamboo Labs clones coming out. But a lot of the DIY projects are really, really cool to see. Trying to get this IO aligned. Usually a pain in the butt. There we go. It's an adaptation of Voron Gantry Legacy if using linear rods, Trident if using linear rails. Interesting. Definitely share that in some of the discords if you once you get kind of going with it. So we need to get this motherboard screwed down. So this has got less screws on it, this motherboard. Was that old motherboard in ATX-E? I can't remember. And hopefully I don't need a backplate for this CPU mount cooler. Probably things I should have looked into before I started building. Things that make you go, whoops. And for Z-axis, I'm basing it off of Ender 3 NG, which is another Core XY conversion, but it doesn't seem that rigid. So you're like combining multiple printers. So this is gonna be kind of pretty custom and not like, you're not straight up just like following a manual to get this together. You're gonna have to possibly piece some stuff together. Take a little from this, take a little from that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one more. The magnetic hold on the LTT screwdriver is pretty good if you've got relatively fair screws, I will say. We need more CPU power than we are currently passing up. I've got an 8-pin. Do I need all 12 pins if I'm not overclocking on this. What were they saying about the cooler? They always, motherboard manufacturers always want you to hook it up to the CPU optional. And then when you read the instructions for the cooler, they want you to hook it up to something else. Wish they could all get aligned on that. Where do they tell us about the power? How many RGB? I will have a couple SATA drives. I've got two old Samsungs on the back of this that I had in Software RAID that I was using as a scratch disk. I think I'll keep using that. Okay, power connectors, A and B, really blown out. Shoulder cam is blown out too. Just reading the manual, figuring out if I need all of the power connectors. ATX 12 volt V2, ATX 12 volt V1. I guess I do need all of them. Ensure to connect the 8-pin power plug or connect both the 8-pin and 4-pin power plugs. When do I need one and when do I need the other? Jeff, are you still there? You built a system pretty recently, right? For these two, there's an 8-port CPU. I remember, didn't it used to be 4? And then it's 8, and now there's a 12. Do you always have to hook up all 12 of those? Is it CPU dependent? Is it... I'm gonna have to route another cable up there, which means I'm gonna have to go find another modular cable. I'll get what I have connected so I can just move along with the build. And I will find out more details a little bit later, hopefully. Was this reach? I've got all 12 on mine, but don't ask what reasoning was, I don't remember. I honestly don't overclock my systems all that often. And this cable's not long enough. Can I get any more slack? I think I'm gonna have to rerun this wire. How is this fan still hanging on? Ow, almost hit myself in the eye. I'm just trying to get this fan out so it's not just hanging around anymore. Or maybe I can just get it installed. But is it going to be in the way of the CPU cooler? Is that facing the right way? this really not have arrow directions on it? Because I haven't built a PC in so long, I can't remember if it's label out for exhaust or label in. Due to fan direction. Should be label out, right? This fan is still very, very dusty. You know what? We're gonna just take it out and clean it off stream. Label out for exhaust on fans. Yeah, that sounds right. That's the type of thing I didn't even used to have to think about 3 or 4 years ago. I just kind of knew, but. So I think we're going to have to reroute this CPU 8-pin. This cable management's kind of gross. Try not to lose your dinner. And honestly, most of the mess is from the fans, all the extra cabling for the RGB. Baguette. So I think I'm gonna have to run an extra CPU one up there, which means I'm gonna have to find it. I don't want to have to go straight up like that. I'd rather go off to this side, but we'll see how it ends up when it ends up. I like the built-in cable ties, but they're kind of a pain in this case to get them through. Ugh. Go around you. Did I lose a connector here? Can you guys see that? Just got 4 pins. 4 rando pins. Yeah, something's telling me we're not gonna be full RGB bro on this. There's like a RGB controller down here, which adds like 3 extra cables. And then between every single individual fan, you have to string them together in series. Why aren't they just like Bluetooth by now for data? That pin is in. Let's fish these HD audio cables and all that other stuff back up here. Although I don't use the front panel audio on this computer like ever. It's like easier to just run them and plug them in than it is to do anything else with them besides completely cut them off. Then we've got What is that? That's front panel IO. This guy needs to come through. This one, let's switch back to shoulder. This front panel USB 2, which I'm dying to use some USB 2 stuff. Isn't there another USB 2? The front panel IO. And I'm gonna have to look at that diagram. I've got a 4 GB SSD for the last 2 months and don't want to disassemble a rewire and put it in. I know the feels. That's why I'm kind of loving M.2. I need the manual to look at the front panel IO connector. What is the pinout for it though? Thunderbolt header panel. So this is ASUS and the old motherboard was ASUS. Oh, this is the extra USB cable and it's for the RGB ring on the CPU cooler, which we might not hook back up. My magnetic screwdriver just got caught on the case. Thanks KB3D. Killing me small, so that's my fault, but. So we've got this little quick connect, Q connect thing for the front panel IO, and I think considering they're both ASUS, they might just be the exact same. So I might just be able to throw it on. The LED on top. Hard drive LED on bottom. Two power LEDs. Reset and ground. Yeah, I think I can just throw that bad boy on, back on there. There's enough slack in the cable. Where's the reset and ground? They're not the same. Okay. So this is the thing I'm talking about, this little Q connector that ASUS had on their motherboards, but apparently this newer motherboard is not the same. Terabyte. Yeah, the new motherboard didn't come with one of those that I saw, so maybe it's either too low end for them to include that 3-cent piece of plastic, or maybe they're not doing them anymore. HD hard drive is polarized and plus is on the left. Yep. Power switch. Is on the top. And it's not. Where's the rest of my I/O? Here are those two Samsung SSDs I was talking about. I had them in a software RAID just to use as a, not for redundancy, just for speed, to use as a, what do you call it? A scratch disk, which anybody who does some editing might know what that is. Just a disk that you read and write to for fast editing, I guess. Not sure how to best phrase that. I feel like I've got more I/O that needs to make its way up there. Or does this have a smart front panel? I can't remember. Like, I don't think it actually has a reset switch on this case. Yeah, it's got like this smart connector up at the top. So it's like got a whole PCB instead of plugging straight into the motherboard to do a reset. It's a pretty old case. Trying to see if there's any way I can kind of better organize these cables while they're all out. I saw that there's some new stuff coming out for PCs and power supplies in terms of cables, so that you can, like, there's, for motherboards, there's like an injector. Or sorry, for graphics card, there's going to be an option to inject power via PCIe instead of having to run extra Molex cables up to your GPU. That would be kind of cool, not having to worry about that anymore. Get all these SATA cables out of the way temporarily. Just pulling wires out. Fan cable. This cable management tie down actually broke on me. Not long enough to actually do anything anymore. Yeah, I don't know where this was connected to. It's just got pins up here. I think it was connected to something like that, and I may have been a little bit too exuberant in pulling it out. We're not gonna have RGB, boys. This SATA cable go to? What in the heck? Oh, I have another SATA drive down there in the front. We are not going to need that for first boot, so let's just take those off as well. And I guess there's no more front I/O. There's just those two cables coming down, which seems weird and sparse, but we can get our USB 3 plugged in. CPU fan, motherboard. ATX plugged in. Where are my fan headers at? There's one up here, CPU optional. Where's pump? CPU fan, all-in-one pump. That's the most complicated part of the builds, I swear, is getting an all-in-one cooler set up in a way that works for both. I mean, really, installing the CPU, RAM, motherboard, and getting most of the wires hooked up takes like 15 minutes. The rest of it is just all this pain in the butt stuff. This is the USB that goes up to the CPU cooler. I don't think he can just get plugged into any of the USB ports. I'll pass. Oh, he's too thick. Kind of just scoping stuff out, trying to think of if I want to reroute anything. I think we can just start to get the cooler installed again. For which we're going to need to clean off the goo, aka paste. Some alcohol and some paper towels. Be right back. Oh, I have paper towels. Oh, it's chunky. Tiny bit on the side here. That might have been dust. Anybody still watching? Do you use high-end thermal paste? Has anybody done an up-to-date video on like whether crazy expensive thermal paste with like diamonds or whatever it might be in it, superconductors, makes any performance gains, or if it's diminishing returns like everything else? Let's get some alcohol on that guy. So this guy will go up top. Got a little thermal paste in some of the screw holes. I do like it when the thermal paste is pre-applied to the all-in-one cooler. It's like all the things. What's like all the things? Forget what I was talking about when you said that. Oh yeah, if it's like diminished returns. Wanted to try that liquid metal stuff, so. Yeah, like the purpose, I guess, is to just fill in as much air gap as possible, right? With some kind of thermally conductive material. So I can see there being some difference, but maybe more if you're doing some extreme stuff like crazy liquid stuff or LN2 or something like that. Get this rad reattached. Oh. Go back to the regular Linus screwdriver for now. I do like these newer cases that have stuff like this, that you can just install stuff kind of outside of the case and then slide it in. I remember when it used to be just like companies like Case Labs and really expensive cases doing that. Now it seems to be more run of the mill. All right, I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of the build. See you later. Have a good night, Fetter. Thanks for hopping in. I will catch you probably in your next stream because it's probably going to be a few weeks before I stream again. But yeah, the LDO V0 kit should be coming up soon. Have a good night, Fetter. Go back to shoulder. Like overall, just being able to slide this guy in rather than like installing the radiator straight to the case is pretty nice. If I can get it in there, like a little track. You have to kind of tilt it up like a refrigerator drawer, IKEA furniture. I only seem to get it in on one side. Be perfectly aligned, maybe. That side, on that side. Modularity, gotta love it. Getting ready to upgrade my LDO V0 to a V0.2 R1, nice. So depending on how long that takes, and when I actually get started streaming it, my streams might be a little helpful. You can see kind of what's changed, but you know, obviously don't wait on me. But if the streams can be helpful, that's pretty sweet. I'm having trouble getting this screw started. without cross-threading it. There we go. So I need to get these wires passed back out. How long ago did you build your V0.1? Steve Builds has some really good videos on upgrading numerous different types of V0s to newer V0s, including I think 2 of the kits he did were LDO kits. Did I have to install backplate? So I am noticing that this motherboard doesn't have a backplate. And as far as I know, the CPU cooler doesn't come with an Intel backplate, so we might not be able to install the cooler tonight. I guess this is the tier of motherboard that only has the holes for you to be able to put a stock cooler in, but that's kind of lame for Micro Center. Who's buying an i9 and using a stock cooler? Maybe I'm mistaken, but these need to screw into a backplate, these standoffs for the cooler. And all we have down there is a spot for those to come through. So maybe one of the other CPU coolers I have will have a backplate. I'm gonna have to go check on that. What'd you say? Unless you're streaming it tomorrow? No, I will not be streaming it tomorrow, but hopefully within the next week. Yeah, you built your Trident because of Steve. Steve is the Trident evangelist and developer, so that makes sense. But let me run and check if I have a backplate so we can continue. I will be back in 1 second. All right, I'm back. This is one of those times where I kind of enjoy being a pack rat, because I've got a whole box full of CPU cooler accessories, CPU coolers and cooler accessories. So hopefully we will have the proper backplate that we need to get this guy installed. Trying to recall exactly which one that is going to be. I think these are Intel ones. Or is this? I feel like it's this one. There's a cutout for it. So I guess the thing I'm confused about is trying to remember who usually provides the backplate, you know? Is it usually the cooler manufacturer? Is it usually the CPU or the motherboard? Well, it's never the CPU. Pretty sure you have to have a backplate for Intel, yeah. Intel Z790 backplate. Let me look up the CPU cooler. This is a NZXT X52 Intel LGA. What is it? 1700. Is it 1700? I can't remember. Yep. Again, other stuff I used to kind of like know by heart. So there's a separate listing for them on Amazon, which doesn't bode well. But I think that this is a generic Intel backplate that fits like the older LDA style stuff and the newer ones. So maybe kind of hopefully it will fit. Maybe not at all. I'm looking at instructions now for the CPU cooler. I guess I can show you guys. So I'm not seeing one that looks like that. So did I buy this before, so far before LGA came out that they didn't include, or LGA 1700? I don't think I've bought a motherboard in the last like 10 years that didn't have a backplate pre-installed on it. But I guess that's kind of what you get with like a bundle this inexpensive. This is a plastic one. I think this one might work. Yeah, it seems to fit. Let me show you something. So I found this guy. And it looks like it's the right one. It can go into 2 different positions. And I just need to make sure it mates up with the cooler, which can also go into 2 different positions. I think we're good. We will proceed until we cannot. I kind of need to hold that while I screw in the standoffs and not let this fall and get scratched up anywhere. Where are the standoffs? Hold on. I got 1 standoff in, just need to find the other 3 and get those screwed in. I think we'll be good. Where did they go now? It's amazing how you can work in such a small space and end up losing stuff. Again, I have so many extras of a lot of this stuff, I can probably just pull them out with one of these bags, but Intel have a short and a long side, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Renwick, thank you for hopping in. Did you gotta head to sleep? No worries on that. Enjoy the rest of your night. And I will see you hopefully in another stream and or on Discord. So have a good night. Thanks for hopping in. And I can't get this standoff in without cross-threading it for some reason. Is it standoff or the bracket? Three out of four. Last one. Also jealous of the tiny PC builds from not having to like lug a giant case around. Let me double check this install instructions for an LGA on a I think I have the holes on the wrong one. 1700 of the outermost holes, and I think I have them in the innermost. So hopefully that'll be pretty quick to change. At least you're not shredding your hands on sharp case. I do have to say that this is a pretty high-end case, and the fit and finish of it is pretty nice in comparison to a lot of other ones. Yeah, it is the outermost ones. I don't know if you can change that. Just slide stuff out, or if I'm gonna have to unscrew all of these and do it. This is the Fantex case. I forget what the actual name of the case is. Fantex Evolve? I want to say. Like the old Evolve, the first one that came out. I do like fractal design a whole lot though. I've got a Meshify C upstairs, and I've built in fractal design cases a lot. I actually got to meet Fractal Josh, if you remember him. He was their old, I think, marketing VP back in the day. I got to meet him at CES. Awesome guy. I really love Fractal Design's kind of design language. I think I first got kind of into Corsair when I got into PC building. I still like their cases, but I kind of like the kind of simple, refined look of fractal design. Is that not the right way? Mine is a Meshify S2. Yeah, I still think they're kind of like maybe not the biggest case manufacturer, but they put out some like bangers. I built in a, what is it, Refine R4, I think was my first fractal design case. I've got a Node 800 series from them. I like their stuff a lot. And I'm doing this so that you guys can't see it kind of dumbly. Because it's really, really hard to hold this in the right place and get it screwed in. (2023) or 2024, it's still frustrating installing CPU coolers. Fractal Design has that cool case. It's like a small form factor case, but it kind of reminds me of Halo. It's like green in terms of the design language. It's a little easier before you put the motherboard in, yeah. That doesn't seem right either. Why are you? But I mean, it's got a back panel cutout, which is kind of the purpose of these cutouts, is to make it so you can put these in. But I mean, just in terms of like filming it, trying to give you guys a view of what's going on is kind of challenging. I thought this was going to be a little bit more of a direct one-to-one swap. I just didn't realize that the motherboard didn't have a backplate. I'm kind of trying to dry fit it quickly. Make sure everything will align right. It doesn't seem to be. Doesn't this like pop off? You rotate it. There we go. I'm also doing this somewhat mostly without instructions, which isn't the best idea. Come on. And then this will hit down and rotate into place, I think. Let me look up the Kraken X52 manual. Oh, there's a video. Open place. Mute that. %80 of the video is not installing. Okay, so I've just finished doing that. Installing the back plate. Just tighten those things on. Oh, you're supposed to. So I leave this guy on. That was like the briefest install video I've ever seen. I guess they have it like this so you can install it in any orientation you need. So we want it like that. We need to back it off by 1 and then tighten it down. Yeah, a little fiddly getting everything lined up, especially with the back plate kind of nearly falling off while you're trying to do it. I do it. Good standing up. Oh, that was the briefest video I've ever seen. Is it in 1.5x or something? A little bit more detailed would be nice. Yeah, it's kind of very high level. NZXT Kraken X52 LGA 1700. So I'm thinking that the coolers didn't come with the bracket because there's like places to buy them separately. So the bracket I have might not be correct in that it might not be for LGA 1700. I do have this one, which kind of slides more granularly. Instead of like locking into different places, but I just don't like that CPU coolers, and I guess if I would have bought a higher end motherboard, it likely would have had a backplate pre-installed. I just don't like the idea that like both of them are probably like, those guys should give it to you. Because I feel like most CPU coolers these days, besides a stock one, are gonna need a backplate. Like who's buying an i9 and putting a stock cooler on it? You know? I guess the motherboards don't know what CPU are going to be put in them. For a given chipset, it could be a i5, so I guess it would be on the cooler manufacturer. Gosh, this is finicky. Yeah, I don't know if I've built a system with a stock cooler that wasn't like an APU in the last 10 years. Like I have this on, but then just this one isn't in the right hole. All right, all four of them are in the right hole, but there's no way it's gonna stand up on its own. Maybe the standoffs will hold them in place. I definitely tend to buy like motherboards individually at probably at least one tier higher than this, so that could be why my expectations are a little off. All right, so standoffs are on. They're not aligning. It's a little weird that search for the X52. I don't want a video. I want the installation manual. Like, why are you not hosting and giving me the freaking manual in DXD? What's... It's just a link to the installation video. Why? Why are all the links not... Like, why is somebody serving this on GitHub? Well, Fairy Godmother said it's midnight and I have to go back to being a pumpkin. Been good hanging out with you. We'll look forward to LDO build. Have a good night and good luck finishing. Thank you for hopping in and hanging out for a little while. Enjoy the rest of your night. And yeah, have a good sleep in pumpkin form or prince form, whatever works for you. What in the world is going on here? I just want a freaking PDF from my CPU core. Installation, yes. Installing the pump. I don't have AMD. I don't think this bracket is right for 1700. I think I need a different one for 1700. But how am I going to be able to tell? I bet 1700 wasn't even out yet when I bought this guy, and it doesn't come with one. And that's why half of the Google results are people looking to buy one or shopping results for one. So that would be kind of lame. AV stuff. I'm thinking that's what the deal is. This little bracket is not meeting up with these 4 screws. There's like no way for this bracket to actually align with these 4 screws. I'm pretty sure it's square, so it doesn't matter which orientation I put it. I'm gonna have to order a bracket. So that aligns. In a way. I might have to do a little bit more research on this. Looking at the instructions, you just pop the standoffs onto the back plate. You align it for the correct socket and you apply the thermal paste and just smack it on there. So I think I need to look up which exact backplate I need to use. And make sure I have the right one. And finish this on another night. So I guess we are going to call it. Got 80% of it, I'd say, built. I do have my installation media and stuff, so once I do figure out how the CPU cooler goes on, it shouldn't be much. I'm not gonna worry about the RGB stuff. I just wanna get this up and running so that I can actually process and edit videos on it. And yeah, when that's done, I should be able to kind of start streaming again and, you know, do some builds. So thank you to everyone who hopped into the stream. Feder, Steve Builds. I don't want to name everybody, but I don't want to forget anybody. Really appreciate it. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next stream and or the next video. Thanks again for hopping in here. See ya.